maybe more, separates one of these two rock-solid clubs in the European pictures from a spot in the league phase, the Champions League. Millions of dollars, and a difference in prestige is the difference. Win, and you rub elbows with the likes of PSG, Real Madrid, Arsenal, and Bayern Munich. Lose, you rub shoulders with the likes of once proud clubs like AC Milan, Juventus, as well as clubs such as Crystal Palace and Bournemouth and Sunderland. That is the difference on each side tonight as Lyon and Fenerbahce. It's in the balance, 1-1 the first leg. The second leg is next. Hello again, everybody. I'm Seth East. Thank you so much for being with us. We even saved you the best seat in the house. We got a really good game, we think, here. Olympique Lyonnais and Fenerbahce. This is going to be a very interesting tie, we feel. It's 1-1 from the first leg. And again, it was a good tie in Istanbul last week. Now they come back to France for this particular tie. Let's introduce to you the starting lineup for each team. Let's start with Lyon. Dominic Grief is the goalkeeper. U.S. international American Tanner Tessman is in the starting 11. He's number 6. Number 7, Ernest Nuama. Number 8, Corentin Tolisso. 11 is Malik Fofana. 16 is Abner, the Brazilian defender, again, numerical. 17, Luis Openda, the forward on loan from Juventus. Moussa Niakate is number 19. 21, Ruben Kluivert. 23, Tyler Morton. And 98, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Fofana, one of the goal scorers in Lyon's opening league win at the weekend. Openda scored the goal last week for Lyon. How about for Fenerbahce? What's their situation look like? Well, they have the Brazilian Ederson. In their goal. The rest of the Fenerbahce team, number 3, Archie Brown. 6, Matteo Guendouzi. 11, Mason Greenwood, who scored twice in the weekend, the league win against Konyaspor. 15, Nathan Ake. 19, Vedat Muriqi. Number 27, Nelson Semedo. Number 37, Milan Skriniar. Number 70, Aguz Aiden. 91, N'Golo Kante. And 94, the Brazilian Talisca. They also scored the goal last week. Both these teams have had extra qualifying rounds to get here. Lyon have had one qualifying round prior to this, Fenerbahce 2. And the big prize is 90 minutes, maybe more away. And it's the host who get us underway, going from left to right in their red, white, and blue shirts. Fenerbahce attack the opposite end in their bright yellow. So away we go with the start of this one as the ball gets out of play as Ederson deals with it. Lyon won coming off a win in their opening match of the season, of the domestic season at the weekend, a 2-0 win at Toulouse. Noah Narte and Malik Fofana were the goal scorers in that one. Lyon have played one round of qualification prior to, as mentioned. They overturned a 2-1 deficit and won 3-0 at home in the second leg to eliminate the Czech side Sparta Prague in the third qualifying round. Fenerbahce go for a ball over the top. Fenerbahce have played 2 league matches this weekend. They lost the first one. They were upset at Genkler Bergli. I'm sure I butchered that. 2-1 for the aforementioned 4-2 win at the weekend against Konyaspor. Fenerbahce have had 2 rounds of qualifying. They began back in late July in the second qualifying round. They eliminated the Polish side Gornik Zabrze 2-1 aggregate. That was followed by a 3-0 aggregate triumph over the Austrian side Sturm Graz in the third qualifying round. Greenwood trying to play it in, and it ends up going to Grief in goal. Paulo Fonseca, the Olympique Lyonnais coach. Lyon last season, a good season, 4th in Ligue 1. on 60 points. They just edged Marseille and Rennes for the last Champions League place. We're actually third with a few weeks to go, but they lost their last 2 matches of the season, and that was a big difference because had they finished third, they would not have needed to go to the qualifying rounds. They would have been in the league phase automatically, but such as life when you play. Last season for Lyon also saw a quarterfinal exit of the Coupe de France. They beat St. Kirk on Lille and Laval before a penalty loss to Lens. There ain't a whistle and a foul. Lyon were the technical winners of the league phase, if you will. They were equal on points with Aston Villa in the Europa League. They won the league phase. They were top of the league phase on goal difference. Plus 13 was their goal difference. 7 wins and 1 defeat. Beating Utrecht, Salzburg, Basel, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Go Ahead Eagles, Young Boys, and PAOK. While losing to Real Betis, but their European dream ended last year in the second leg of the Europa League in the round of 16. A 3-1 aggregate loss to the Spanish side Celta Vigo. Okay, we'll get touch back now for Fenerbahce. Long ball over the top. Intercepted there. Fenerbahce, of course, second in the Turkish league last season. 3 points behind arch nemesis Galatasaray for the league championship. Loss at Galatasaray on the 26th of April, pretty much dooming them. They did win the Turkish Super Cup. They beat Galatasaray 2-0 to win that. They were dumped out of their domestic cup by Konyaspor. Of course, they were beaten at this stage of the Champions League last season. 1-0 in aggregate to Benfica in the playoffs. Brown's cross. Good delivery. Looking for Greenwood in the middle there, and Lyon are able to attack it away. Fenerbahce advanced to the knockout round playoffs of the Europa League. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 2 losses in the league phase. They defeated Nice, Stuttgart, and Braun. Drew with Victoria Pilsen, Ferencvaros, and Steaua Bucharest, and lost to Dinamo Zagreb and Aston Villa. Issue with the corner. They were beaten in the knockout playoffs 4-2 on aggregate by Nottingham Forest. That's how Fenerbahce went about their business last season, and now trying to get back into the Champions League head table. We played for 5 minutes. It's 0-0 here between Lyon and Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce rowing forward here. Here's Semedo. Pass to the right-hand side. Another layoff for Semedo, and some good Lyon defending. These two teams, well, very proud. Of course, some people that are of the younger generation might not realize this, but some people that are of my age and might remember days when it wasn't PSG that was ruling French football. It was Lyon. They won 7 league titles in a row from 2002 to 2008. They haven't won one since that 2008 triumph. Here's a corner for Fenerbahce. Played in, and they've dealt it away. Also won the French Cup 5 times, most recently in 2012. Semedo in some trouble. Bouncing around, he goes to Ederson. Lyon last were in the Champions League. It's hard to believe as far as in any sort of thing, in any sort of phase. They had not been in the Champions League since 2019-20. Had not qualified for it since that season. More on that in a moment as Auguste tries to get I think he wanted to shoot that. Lays off Ake. Ake gives it to Brown. Brown's cross blocked. Comes back to Brown, though. Uses out, briefly to Nuama, and a foul against Brown. But the last time Lyon were in the Champions League was also when they equaled their best ever run of the competition in 2020. They finished second in the group stages. They then defeated Juventus in the last 16, that Juventus team that had Ronaldo. And then, of course, the COVID in the bubble in Portugal. They beat Manchester City 3-1 in the quarters before finally striking midnight in a 3-0 loss to Bayern Munich. That's the most that Lyon, that's the best they've ever done. That's in the Champions League, again, co-best. They also, of course, reached the semis in 2010, second in a group with Fiorentina, Liverpool, and Debrecen that year. Beat Real Madrid and Bordeaux before losing to Bayern. Shot from distance, saved Ederson, corner Lyon. So Lyon with the first meaningful shot at anger of this occasion. Lyon and Fenerbahce have played relatively recently in European competition. 2 seasons ago, they met in the league phase of the Europa League. A match that ended in a 0-0 draw. It was one of 2 Turkish teams they played in the league phase that year. The other was Besiktas, who they lost 1-0 to. Wama's corner and headed over the bar. Tolisso begging for a corner, but not going to get it. Last win in European competition against the Turkish side for a Lyon squad. You have to go back to the 2017 Europa League quarterfinals. A 2-1 aggregate, 2-1 win over Besiktas in the home leg of a tie that they eventually progressed on penalties. As far as the history with Lyon and Fenerbahce, they also met twice in the old group stage of the 2004-05 Champions League. Lyon took both those matches 4-2 and 3-1 en route to the quarterfinals of that year's competition. As Ake commits a foul. Also met twice in Group Stage 1 in the Champions League in 2001-2002. 3-1 and 1-0, Lyon winning both of those matches. Those are the only times that they have played. That's their history between Lyon and Fenerbahce in the Champions League. Fenerbahce, of course, 28 times champions of Turkey. That's an all-time record. 19 in the Super League era. So he won 7 Turkish Cups. That's being dealt with. Fenerbahce, we did Lyon history now. Fenerbahce, their last Champions League involvement beyond qualification, as far as a group stage or a league phase or anything like that. As Lyon now come forward, folks, you have to go all the way back almost 20 years. The last time Fenerbahce got out of the qualifying rounds for the Champions League was the 08-09 season. Finished bottom in a group that consisted of Arsenal, FC Porto, and Dinamo Kiev. And Guendouzi with a trip here, and Lyon are going to have a free kick on the right-hand side in a pretty good position. Now Guendouzi having a chat with his former Arsenal mate, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Match referee is the Italian Maurizio Marani, a 44-year-old merchant sailor from Rome. Refereed 3 matches at the World Cup back in the summer, including the round of 32 match between Brazil and Japan. He also was the referee of last year's Conference League final between Crystal Palace and Rayo Vallecano. 12th minute, Ainsley Maitland-Niles to take this free kick for Lyon. Can they break through here? It is Maitland-Niles. It's fizzed across the 6-yard area, and wide it goes. And I think it ends up hitting off the back of Skriniar, so it is going to be a corner kick. Again for Lyon. Yeah, it has been a minute Of course, Fenerbahce's best Champions League run. You have to go back to 2008. They reached the quarterfinals that season. Nuama's corner. It's to the area. Brown's able to head it away, and there was a foul in the build-up. They finished second in a group that included Inter Milan, PSV Eindhoven, and CSKA Moscow. They beat Sevilla in the round of 16 before losing to Chelsea in the quarterfinals of that competition. But that's the best they've ever done. Also reached the quarterfinals of the also have reached a Europa League semi. The best in any European nation was the Europa League semifinal in 2013. Disposed of Bate Borisov, Victoria Pilsen, and Lazio before losing to Benfica. Here is Aguz. Aguz looking for a curling shot, and it comes right at Grief. Fenerbahce's recent history, Fenerbahce's history against French teams, they've played 26 times. They've won 6. Most recent encounter with a French club was their 2-1 win against Nice in last season's Europa League phase. Ball coming through, and Guendouzi, and he wanted something. Guendouzi now will play it back to Brown. So here is Fenerbahce with Nathan Ake. Ake lofting it in. Here, 15th minute. It is still 0-0. Here is Nuama, diagonal ball. Liso now playing it back over to Nuama. Of course, there are plenty of other ties tonight, and we will keep you up to date on all of those in the Champions League. Of course, last night, there were 3 ties. The headliner, of course, that stunning comeback, for some at least, by Lask, who beat Celtic 5-1 on the night and won 5-4 in aggregate. They were down 3-0 in aggregate for the first leg, and then Celtic scored the first goal, where Lask came back in, did the business, as Tolisso passes it to Brown. Also last night, Bodo Glimt are back for another run. They swept aside NEC, and Sava, the Azerbaijan club, advanced with a 6-4 aggregate win over Hapoel Beersheva, 5-2 in aggregate. Beersheva, NEC, and Celtic will now, of course, transfer to the Europa League phase, as will the losers of tonight's other ties. Celje against Slovan Bratislava, that's 1-1 for the first leg. Viking and Dinamo Zagreb, the Croatian side, lead that match 1-0 on the night, and are 3-2 up on aggregate. And then AEK Athens has broken the deadlock against Levski Sofia, the Greek side, up 2-0 tonight, and of course 2-0 in aggregate. The last 4 spots of the league phase be settled tonight, and then the Europa League and Conference League will fill out their slots tomorrow, and then the draw for all 3 Friday. Maitland-Niles' his cross! And sliding in there was Abner, but he couldn't get a good touch on it. Dominic Grief is the Lyon goalkeeper, 29-year-old from Bratislava, Slovakia. Previously played for Slovak Bratislava and Mallorca. 29 appearances last year for Lyon. Part of a Mallorca team that made the Copa del Rey final back in 2024. He gets the call in between the sticks tonight for Paulo Fonseca's team, the 53-year-old born in Nampula, Mozambique. Has managed Porto clubs. Notable clubs managed include Porto, Braga, Shakhtar, Roma, Lille and AC Milan. It's a 4-2-3-1, wants to dominate possession. Here is Nuama. Nuama now with it. A three-time league winner with Shakhtar. Took advantage of Portugal, though, was a Super Cup with Porto and a domestic cup with Braga. Dance side now. I'm trying to play it back. Fenerbahce now with possession here. Of course, you know, a lot of you know their goalkeeper, Ederson, from his time at Manchester City, where he made almost 300 appearances for them. Ball comes in. Skriniar is able to clear it away. Signed with Fenerbahce in September of last year. He set a Guinness World Record almost a decade ago, 8 years ago. He set a Guinness World Record for the longest football drop kick, reaching a distance of 247 feet 2 inches at the Etihad campus. It's on Manchester City grounds, of course. Won a Champions League with City back in 2023. Lyon on the Fenerbahce though on the run here. Brown with a shot. It forced a save from Grief. Going to be a corner kick here for Fenerbahce. Managed by their head coach is Ismail Kartal, the 65-year-old from Istanbul. His fourth spell. Fenerbahce as a manager. Won a Turkish Super Cup in 2014. Oh, whoa. Goose with the corner, and that clipped the crossbar, and that stayed in play. Greenwood. And his shot, his cross/shot, or whatever you would like to call what he was trying to do there, was blocked. He was trying to go for the Olympico there, was Aguz, Aden Aguz, 25-year-old, born in the Netherlands, represents Turkey at international level. Moved to Turkey in 2016. Didn't score any for Fenerbahce in 36 appearances across all competitions last season. The year prior, 30 appearances, 7 goals across all competitions. 20 minutes gone. Your score remains, as you see, Lyon 0, Fenerbahce 0. And a reminder, if you like what you're seeing, and more importantly hearing, hit that like button, subscribe, and also smash the notification bell so you'll be notified of any future USN broadcasts, because there's a lot more where this came from. A final looking for the cross, and Lyon are able to take care of business. Henda. There's so now Nuama with a free kick. More Life Football tomorrow. Fulham and Wimbledon from Craven Cottage. Live coverage of the Carabao Cup from West London tomorrow. We had Fulham on Monday. Be interested to see what kind of squad they field and how good they look after that tough loss to Chelsea. Free kick whipped in and grabbed easily by Ederson. And then, of course, Sunday, tentatively, again, this is tentatively, depending on what the weather's like at Daytona. More on that at halftime. But if all things cooperate for Saturday night, then we'll have two matches on our network and another on our sister station on Sunday, 10:45 a.m. Telstar and Ajax in the Eredivisie. As Openda on the left-hand side and he offside. He noticed as he was chasing the ball. Then at 11:30 a.m., Manchester United and Ipswich Town. Not Ipswich City, as it says as it was mentioned in the doc. And then, of course, our buddy Pierre Moss on his sister station, Wellington Sports Radio, has a good one from the French League at 2:45 on that Sunday. His game will go on regardless. Monaco, Marseille. That's your upcoming schedule for the week ahead. The rest of this week. So now here come Fenerbahce right inside. A Goose with it. Goose, can he get a cross in? He does. It's blocked, though. Tried to get one in, blocked. Came back to him, though. A Goose will try again. And it's a good header. It's saved. The rebound is tucked back in. Vidal for Fenerbahce. And it could be one 17 years in the making. Vedat Muriqi, the Kosovo international, arrived in the summer from Mallorca. His header was saved by Grief, but it was a very tame push, and it fell right back to the big striker, who was not going to miss that chance. 2-1 on aggregate now. Fenerbahce are now in control of the tie. The Pirate, as he's known. I just found Fenerbahce's ultimate treasure chest. Still a long way to go. But it's a goal for Fenerbahce they will crave. As the ball goes out of play. Fenerbahce with it now in their own half. It's Brown has it. Now he's given away. Here comes Lyon with Nuama. Nuama trying to cut left. It's a good pass to Liso. Now Nuama. Now here is Fofana. Lyon looking for the immediate reply. And Fofana hits it right at Ederson. I don't feel like they should be attacking there because they are a team from the quote-unquote Big Five countries. Of course, the Big Five leagues. The Premier League, La Liga, the Bundesliga, the Serie A, and Liga. Turkish league feels like they're pretty close. But they're right up there with the Eredivisie and the Portuguese league. Probably would be the three you would think of as best in show type of leagues. Of course, the association ranking, the association coefficients, which essentially ranks the leagues, has the Turkish league ranked 10, which means they get 2 teams automatically via league position. Of course, the top 5 each get 4. The Dutch league is 6. They get 3, and a bunch get 2. Turkish league is 10th. Behind the Big 5, the Eredivisie, the Portuguese league, the Belgian league, and the Czech league. just ahead of the Norwegian, Greek, Austrian, and Scottish leagues. Polish league is 15th, and all the rest of them get one each. Here is, and of course, there could be more based on league positioning and qualification via other methods. Cross block, it's going to be a Fenerbahce corner. Of course, you can also get an automatic qualification into the Champions League regardless of league position if you A, win the Champions League, and B, if you win the Europa League. 28th minute and a corner for Fenerbahce. It's Mason Greenwood to take. Greenwood sends it in. Oh, what a great header! And Brown scores! Fenerbahce's second goal with a very English feel to it. Greenwood on the delivery, and Archie Brown heads Fenerbahce into a 2-goal buffer on the night and in the tie. The 24-year-old from Birmingham has now given Fenerbahce a massive step up. Lyon now need to score twice just to take it to extra time. They have silenced and rocked this Lyon stadium. Nearing the half-hour mark, and Fenerbahce are 2-0 up. Archie Brown with the header. So now, how do Lyon respond? That's the real big question here. Nearing half an hour. Nearing half an hour played. A long ball being played here. Let's see what I play. Of course, just kind of not bore you, but just get, filler time, if you will. Just stuff that, this sport. It's funny. My good friend Matthew Owens was talking the other week about, how, he's back to doing a whole lot of baseball games. And he said, baseball in this particular platform used to give you a good chance to go into storytelling mode, but you can't as much now with the pitch clock. There's a shot that goes wide, but I wanted to tell this, you wouldn't think so because of how this game is played, but with the, not lulls, but, with the stops in possession, and the slowing down and, keeping possession, it can allow you to tell these stories. So, of course, the clubs that are in to the league phase. Now, this is updated after last night. Teams that the winner of this match will join the Champions League phase. Of course, a Swiss format where you're drawn to play 8 games. Don't ask me why they did that. I like the old group stage of 4 teams in a group better, but It is what it is. Skriniar commits a foul, and the Italian referee has booked him. The teams that have qualified for the Champions League, PSG, of course, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Inter Milan, Manchester City, Arsenal, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Roma, Sporting Lisbon, Aston Villa, Porto, Manchester United, Club Brugge, Real Betis, PSV, Feyenoord, Lille, Napoli, Leipzig, Villarreal, Shakhtar, Galatasaray, Slavia Prague, Stuttgart, Como, and Lens. Here's the corner, and headed behind Ivadak for a corner. And then, of course, you have Sabah, Lask, and Bodo Glimt to punch their ticket to the Champions League in the last night. And then the rest of the playoff winners, and that will make the 32-team league phase. Of course, the 32 in the Europa League, which is where the loser of this tie will drop to. Again, so far, the Europa League confirmed teams for that include Bayer Leverkusen, teams that have already been confirmed. The Europa League phase already. Crystal Palace, of course, by virtue of the Conference League triumph, as Greenwood runs in. Greenwood, and we couldn't keep it in. Crystal Palace are there, of course. It's a true mix of names and names. Not in bad, but teams that, of course, that are in the league phase awaiting the loser of this competition include Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Sunderland, AC Milan, Juventus, Real Sociedad, Celta Vigo, Hoffenheim, Bayer Leverkusen, Marseille, Rennes, AZ, Torrance, the second-tier side that won the Portuguese Cup. Here's the corner, and then sliced back in, and then Grief for the save. Torrance is also going to be there. Of course, teams that have transferred from the Champions League: Celtic, Hapoel Beersheva, NEC, Union St. Gilloise, Sparta Prague, Olympiacos, and Sturm Graz. Corner, and headed behind. .35th minute. And Lyon have a corner. They really need a goal here. Here's the delivery and the header. Oh, it flicked off the bar. It was a near post header that flicked back to the other side. Bafana. Morton. Squeeze one in, and now Vidak trying to give chase. And, of course, the Conference League, which is cool because they don't have, no one automatically qualifies for the league phase of that competition. It truly is a mishmash of teams that have either qualified for the Conference League via the league, or teams that have lost in Champions League and Europa League qualifiers. Though Hearts have punched their ticket, they won tonight in a penalty shootout, so it'll be good for them if they go through. Well, of course, there are some big teams that could be heading to the Conference League this year. Among those, Freiburg, Monaco, Atalanta, Rangers, Ajax, as well as other notable clubs from bigger leagues such as Brighton and Getafe. Of course, you could get some teams. Anderlecht, who I don't think is going to lose, but if they were to lose, they could also drop down there, but that's not going to happen. Here's Lyon with the corner towards Nuama. Brown doing his day job defensively after having some fun and scoring last time out. Fenerbahce break through. Now, Mason Greenwood. Ball played in. Ball to the right-hand side. Nuana chases him. 3-1 on aggregate. 39th minute. N'Golo Kante. I haven't mentioned his name much. On to their fans and their players. Pass here. They had to be thinking, what in the world has happened here? Push through now. Nuana, it's a nice cheeky back heel. Here's a shot from Lyon. It came from Kluivert, but it was saved by Ederson. Nuana leaping and foul. Fenerbahce the free kick in coming from halftime. Gets you up to date on what's happening in the Champions League, the Conference League, and in the English League Cup, as well as we watch the shot from Morton again. It was Morton with the shot. And also update you on the upcoming non-soccer schedule for the network this week. Here's Lyon with a free kick. Back to Nuwama. Nuwama. Now Lyon running through Maitland-Niles. Boy, they are trying to get on the offensive. They have to get on the offensive. It's here. Mama. Foul, free kick here. Fenerbahce now win possession back. We're near the 45-minute mark. We'll find out how much time will be added on here shortly. Lee Scott was in the middle. He was calling for a foul. So now Lyon with it back inside their own half. They trailed 2-0. Vedat Mariki and Archie Brown, 2 goals in 4 minutes, have given Fenerbahce a 2-0 lead of the night. And again, you don't see this on the screen, but now 3-1 on aggregate in this playoff round. Winner to the league phase of the Champions League. Fofana lifts the cross in. Came to Openda. Still in the mixer, and then Conte was able to clear it away. Semedo, he will play it back. Lyon with some good possession-based play. Can they make it work into a proper attack, though? That's the big question that they must ask. Left-hand side. Abner lays it off. Fana, Abner, the touch. Tolisso with a shot and blocked. You see 1 minute, you see on your screen now, 1 minute of stoppage time at the end of the first half. That's what we'll have, 1 minute for halftime. It's Clivert. The pass back. Now here comes Nuwama. Maitland-Niles. Tessman. Brown. From the Lyon bench with 8 seconds before the 1 minute decided to get up and just go ahead and go get a head start on that locker room thing. Of course, Romelu Lukaku is on Fenerbahce's bench. They may not need him. And so halftime indeed in this second leg, and it's Fenerbahce who are poised for the big prize. 2 goals in 4 minutes have really given them some real hope here of advancing through to the knockout stage of this competition, or into the league phase, I should say, this competition. New signing Vedat Mariki, who was the first signing of Fenerbahce summer, he gave them the lead, and then just a couple of minutes later, a header from Archie Brown has given Fenerbahce a 2-0 lead It's 2-0 tonight. It's 3-1 on aggregate to the side from Turkey. We're back in just a moment. Ultimate Sports Media's coverage of UEFA Champions League will continue. 2-0 Fenerbahce. You see the score on your screen. It's 3-1 on aggregate as we move on here to as we get close to the second half. Now I do need to update something I mentioned in the whole the draw aspect, the Conference League and the Europa League draws. The Champions League draw is not on Friday. It is tomorrow. So it'll be done tomorrow with plenty of league phase matches. So hang on just a split second here. So let's get you caught up again. The other matches going on in the playoff round of the Champions League tonight. It's Celje 1 and Slovan Bratislava 1. That tie is now 2-2 on aggregate. Viking and Dinamo Zagreb, that's 1-1 of the night and 3-3 on aggregate. And AEK Athens lead Levski Sofia 3-0 on the night and 3-0 on aggregate. In the English League Cup, 3 matches at the second half. Newcastle lead West Brom 2-1. Bradford and Burnley are goalless. Tottenham are 2-0 up on Charlton. Everton lead Preston 1-0 at halftime of the late kickoff. Last night, Norwich beat Cardiff 2-1. Middlesbrough 3-1 over Doncaster. Watford 1. Peterborough 5. West Ham blew away Southampton 4-1. Millwall 1-0 winner at Cambridge. Reading beat Stevenage 3-0. Ipswich 3-1 over Leicester. Leyton Orient beat Walsall on penalties. Fleetwood 4-0 over Shrewsbury. Wolves 2-0 over Sheffield Wednesday. Blackpool 1, Lincoln 4. Barnsley beat Crewe 3-2. It was Sheffield United a 2-1 winner over Blackburn. Hull beat Stoke on penalties. Coventry beat Plymouth 4-2. Brentford demolished Birmingham 6-1. And just a few days after meeting in the league, Leeds and Forest played again at the City Ground. Leeds won 2-0 in that encounter. So that's what happened yesterday in the English League Cup as we now try to get you caught up on what else is happening. Other soccer or football, whatever you want to call these scores. There is one La Liga match tonight. Real Madrid and Real Sociedad are knotted up at halftime. It's 1-1. Kylian Mbappe has the goal for Real Madrid. The League's Cup quarterfinals continue tonight. Toluca against Austin FC. That's a game that will be played in Harrison, New Jersey. And in a game to be played in Carson, California, it will be Club America against the Columbus Crew as they get ready to start for the second half here. In this one, last night, Monterrey beat Robert Lewandowski's Chicago Fire 2-1, and Lyon a 3-0 winner of Real Salt Lake. So could be an all Liga MX Final Four if Austin and Columbus don't get their act together. Don't get their act together. Also tonight, Hearts and Rapid Vienna finished 2-2 on aggregate in Austria. Hearts winning on penalties. Disastrous European qualification. Still feeling the effects of losing the Scottish title the way they did last season. Dumped out of the Champions League and Europa League qualifiers. They do salvage some pride by winning this qualifier in Austria on penalties. Hearts will be in the league phase of the UEFA Conference League. So a big win for them, and again, a big congratulations. Off we go with half number 2 in this one, and I failed to do, again, you think halftime's going to be normal, and then other things happen. So now we're back to Lyon working through here is Doozy. Played back to Ederson. Fenerbahce going left to right in their yellow shirts. Lyon right to left and white. But you think it's normal halftime, the other things happen. So we'll tell you the other non-sports schedule, not non-sports, the other, as that was in again. There's cries for a handball from Fenerbahce supporters. Referee not interested. But Fenerbahce, and now he might be having a second look. He might have been told to have a second look at it. The non-soccer events, but again, just to reiterate, the rest of the soccer this weekend. Thursday, tomorrow, Fulham, Wimbledon in the League Cup, and then Sunday, if all systems go, tentatively, Telstar, Ajax, and Man United, Ipswich here. Monaco, Marseille on WSR. VAR check over, no penalty, we play on. Non-soccer/football events. Friday night, Major League Baseball at 6:30. The Los Angeles Dodgers take on the Detroit Tigers. Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, college football returns. North Carolina State and Virginia. That should be a good one in the ACC. Here's Nuwama on the right-hand side for Lyon. Brown giving chase. Nuwama with a long delivery. And it's going to be Openda now with it. Abner. Openda. Still dancing around. And scooped in Ederson. We'll get it. Also Saturday night, if the weather permits, Saturday night it will be the Coke Zero Sugar 400 from Daytona. And also at 1:30 Eastern Sunday, the Boston Red Sox to the New York Yankees. Doing their fantastic rivalries. We are in the stretch run of the Major League Baseball season. Here come Lyon, whipping a good cross in. Samito heads it. It's floating up in the air, and it's going to land in the safe hands of Ederson. But Ederson's been made to work so far. Lyon trying to get better, and of course they've got to now. It's now or never for their Champions League qualification hopes. But Fenerbahce want to add another end-to-end somewhat to start the second half. Greenwood plays it in. It's going to be another corner kick. I believe it is. So here is Samito, the corner. And Skunar. Picked off now by Matteo Guendouzi. Abner. Clivert. Fofana. Fofana whipping a good cross in. Oh, that was really good, and it deserved a much better finish than it got from the head of Openda. Hit it just wide of the goal, so a bit of a let-off for Fenerbahce here. Lyon with 60% of the possession. But down where it counts on the score sheet, 2-0. And on aggregate, they're down 3-1. Which side now? Playing it from the back. Now, left side. Here is Fofana, who has had his moments there. Teeing it up for Abner. Penda attacked it. Defender came first, though. Then Fofana is called, and is there a foul? Somebody just got a yellow card. It might have been for dissent, and it was on a Penda. Lois Apenda, the man who's on loan from Juventus. That was a summer move for the French club. Lyon have made some interesting signings. Apenda, the loan move. The other big summer, the most expensive sign, 10.5 million euros they paid for the Salzburg midfielder, Mads Bidstrup. Noam Kumar arrived from PSG for 4 million. 5 million was played to Nice for Khalil Badouche. Julian Duranville, the Belgian from Dortmund, was signed. They also signed Mohamed Odorago from Reindorf Altok. Penda with 3.5 million in the loan. Felix Basha from Estoril, and Zachary Bakeme for an undisclosed loan fee from AC Milan 12 days ago. High delivery. That away. Fenerbahce, we mentioned some of their sort of signings, but that Marique also signed Amara Diouf from the Senegal club Generation Foot. They paid 18 million euros for Sadiki Sharif from Angers. Ake cost him 7 million from City. 39 million was the most they spent. That was to get Greenwood. They paid Napoli 6 million for Lukaku. Vedat. Away by Grief. Sadiki Sharif, 25 million from Coventry, and it was what they paid at Coventry. Fred left for 2 million to go back to his native Brazil, to Atletico Mineiro. That's some of the transfer dealings with these teams, in case you been kind of out of the loop. They're about to have a corner, and the volley from Greenwood is well over the bar. Mason Greenwood, of course, who started his career at Manchester United. Also had spells at Getafe and Marseille. Of course, without now comes the part of the program where we tread the fine line between not getting too into the weeds of a situation, but not completely ignoring it. Of course, those of you, I'm sure, are very much aware of the problems that he's been facing for a few years now. And from 4 years ago, in case it came through, he still has the stats for sure. So, but that is a foul happens here, and again, so just to know, we are aware of Mason Greenwood and his checkered past, but we don't get into the weeds too much most things, but we figured we'd mention it anyway before somebody draws a complaint. Here's N'Golo Kante. Now Greenwood. Good ball. Here's Guendouzi. Left-hand side. Vedat. He's onside. Here's Vedat. He could have clinched the tie right there. It was actually Oguz. I'm sorry. Oguz could have clinched the tie. And Pierre Moss is with me and just sent me a message and confirming one more time of Marseille's game with Monaco on WSR Ligue on Sunday. Been having some fun with that, Pierre. He had quite the game with Rennes and PSG on this past weekend. PSG coming from 2 down to salvage a point. Brown commits a foul here on Nuama. He got the ball, but he was the last one to touch it before it went out. Lyon corner. A goal for Lyon here would really spice things up. And, oh, it goes over everybody's head. Here is Fofana. '57th minute here. Glad to have you with us on this Wednesday, hump day, as it is called around here. Maybe it would be Wednesday afternoon in the United States or Wednesday evening in the European part of the world. Fenerbahce into the penalty area. Teeing up a shot. Here's Guendouzi, and it's right at Grief. It's the second time the last few minutes Fenerbahce have had a chance to maybe put the tie to bed once and for all and failed to do it. And Lyon run now. Fofana whips one in. You're only as far back as Tessman. Now another shot from distance, and Ederson has that one covered as well. Wama, I believe, who had the shot. Now, ball finds the feet of Greenwood, and now Greenwood on the attack. Mason Greenwood, good run this. Greenwood, good slide. Challenge. Chego back after Lyon needs to start an attack. So Fenerbahce now has it in the attack. Yeah, here is N'Golo Kante. Kante gives it up. Easy. Brown one more time, and it'll be a throw in for Lyon. Yes, I believe so. Then Lyon trying to beat the French league. Alyssa is Pierre. Pierre, of course, big advocate for the French league and French football. So it's a big night for the league. Lyon need this win to give the league a 4th spot in the league phase in the proper of the Champions League. Champions League proper. PSG, Lens, and Lille are already there. Openda tried to get that long through ball and couldn't. Lyon do have a sub coming on with set to come on Zachary Athikame, the Swiss defender who is on loan from AC Milan. Clubs in Europe, the reputation has been enhanced just a little bit, ever so much, by PSG finally breaking through and winning the Champions League each of the last 2 seasons. Again, they are set to have quite a number of teams in Europe this season. Nuama, right-hand side. Nuama's cross. And blocked away. Then Vedat. Of course, regardless of what happens tonight, Lyon will still be in Europe. If Monaco can win their playoff tomorrow, Liga will have 7 teams in European competition. PSG, Lens, Lille, as we mentioned, already set for the Champions League. This is Fofana! Great finish! Game on! What a cheeky finish by Fofana! Malik Fofana, the 21-year-old from Belgium, just past the hour, has given Lyon a Champions League lifeline. That's a really cool finish. Angle's a little bit tight. First time, Ederson left strained that he had no chance. And Fofana, who scored against Toulouse at the weekend, now has a goal here. Lyon making a double change. Nuwama and Maitland-Niles are both coming off. Let's see who comes on for Lyon. It's going to be at the Kime and then the aforementioned Budashe. Yeah, if you're still listening, I'm sure I butchered the Budashe name, but I had to be careful with it because if I say it a certain way, it sounds like a certain word that I would prefer not to say on the airwaves. So the Swiss and the Algerian coming on. They're trying to attack, and now, what were we just saying about Fenerbahce? Those two chances they had, are they going to be left to rue them? Quick notes, Fakime on loan from AC Milan. That loan move confirmed 12 days ago. Play. And then Khalil, of course, 13 appearances for Nice last season. But to finish up with France, talking about the French teams in the league, Lyon will either be in the Champions League or the Europa League. Marseille and Rennes are already set for the league phase, and Monaco have to win the playoff tomorrow. And if they do that, PSG, Lens, Lille, Lyon, Marseille, Rennes, and Monaco will be your 7 teams that will be in European competitions representing France. Another ball comes in for Lyon. Semedo deals with it. Skriniar deals with it. 7 teams in Europe. Of course, last season, Turkey with 5 teams that qualified for European competition. Galatasaray, of course, are already in the league phase. Fenerbahce are going to be in Europe regardless. Fofana whipping across in. T-Spin really didn't get a good touch in. Another header, another ball. Comes in, header, goal! Lyon have turned it around. It's a Penda with a goal. Now those 2 missed chances are really looking bad for Fenerbahce. Now is he offside? Oh boy, that is tight. I think they've actually, have they disallowed the goal? A goal kick, they've disallowed it. No goal. No goal. Here says, come on, Lyon, and then says, LOL. I'm assuming at the, what I said about the Algerian who just came on. Algerian international who just came on for Lyon. But what a moment here. Lyon, if you're just joining us, have just had the ball in the back of the net, but a goal disallowed. 2-1 Fenerbahce. 3-2 on aggregate. Fenerbahce with 2 goals in the first half. One from Vedat, one from Brown. Lyon got one back moments ago through Fofana. And now Fenerbahce are set to make their first sub. Race run for Talisca, and he'll be replaced by number 5, Ismail Yüksek. And the corner at the far post, and it's headed over. Just to finish up on the European deal. Turkey, you're going to have five, could be as 5 teams in Europe. We mentioned Galatasaray and Fenerbahce. Trabzonspor and Besiktas are in Europa League playoffs tomorrow. They'll be in Europe regardless. Besiktas are pretty comfortable. Trabzonspor have work to do, but even if they lose that, they'll be in the Conference League. Greenwood's corner. Pushed away by Greece. Now, I said they have 5. It's actually 5 qualified, but only 4 the 5th. Istanbul Başakşehir, Jamie Carragher's favorite team. If you've watched CBS Sports' Champions League coverage over the years, you'll get the joke there. They were beaten by the Finnish side Inter Turku. So a team from Turkey losing to Turku. I'll say anything, won't I? 67th minute. It's 2-1 of the night. 3-2 on aggregate. Fenerbahce, a goose trying to give chase. He's got plenty of space to operate here for the Turkish side. His ball is in, and it's kicked away, and it's a corner kick. Niakate, the last line of Lyon defense. Boy, I tell you, that was a very, very dangerous moment there. Now here comes the confirmation. Talisca and Yusek. Okay. Of course, France have, well, there you're talking about teams that qualify for European competitions. As Lyon have lost possession, and Auguste chases it in the area. Auguste now looking here. Auguste. Guendouzi! Well, he wasn't too far away. I don't even know if he was trying to shoot that, but it ended up being about an inch or two for the goal. Of course, you talk about teams from the... Which teams have the most in Europe? Of course, 7 from France, pretty good, but it's not quite. If Brighton can get over the finish line tomorrow night, the Premier League, I don't know what's crazier. The fact that the Premier League are going to have could have 9 teams in Europe, or the fact that none of them are Chelsea, Newcastle, and Tottenham. Of course, they've got 5 in the Champions League with Arsenal, the 2 Manchester clubs, Villa and Liverpool. Bournemouth and Sunderland are in the Europa League phase, as is Palace by virtue of that Conference League win. Conference League win was what got them the 9th European spot. Brighton, of course, played Tromsø. What an indifferent start of the season. They drew 0-0 with Tromsø last week, then beat Aston Villa in the league opener. You would favor them at home against Tromsø. 0-0 from the first leg. Cross in for Lyon is Brown. It's that away. So 9 clubs qualified. Through here. Spain have 8 that have qualified. 7 are set. Getafe will be the 8th if they win their playoff tie. By the way, Pierre, we'll hold that thought. As Yusek tees up an opportunity. Pass goes back. Yusek attacks and Lyon away. But Pierre, first of all, I know Pierre is absolutely heartbroken after Celtic's choke job last night in Austria. If you please note, everybody know the sarcasm being sensed there. But also, Pierre, I don't know if you were with me when I reported this earlier tonight. Hearts have salvaged some sort of European football from their miserable qualifying campaign. They will be in the Conference League phase. They beat Rapid Vienna on penalties tonight. Throw in, header. See, the Champions League's the creme de la creme. The Europa League's fun. But there is a certain charm about that Conference League, giving those teams from lower chances a more realistic chance to go on big runs than they would in the Champions League and Europa League. Lyon, 57% possession. Over the top, it's Openda. He looked offside. Flag has stayed down. Openda has had his shot blocked. Guendouzi clears it away. Well, now it goes back to Tolisso. opportunity. Fafana. Chance. Saved. Then it was kicked back out. It's Atakime who scored, but there was a foul in the build-up. And again, a massive Fenerbahce let off. My goodness, another Fenerbahce let off. Round back there, and he got pushed by Atakame, so that was a big reason why Atakame had been freed up to score that goal. He created the space himself, and he did it illegally. Now, hold on now. VAR's checking this. Now, Lyon they've actually counted the goal, which means I get to do the fancy goal graphic again. I'm going to hold off, though, until it gets confirmed. Here also says ACC, another Celtic capitulation. It's not the Atlantic Coast Conference, which we'll have for you on Saturday with NC State and Virginia, or the All Coast Conference, as we call it here now. He also is very happy for Hearts making it happen. We all appreciate any kind of comments as long as it's not too out of line. Also, if you like what you're seeing or hearing, you can hit the like button, subscribe, smash that notification bell. You'll be notified. You'll be ready for all future broadcasts. Meanwhile, our Italian referee is now going to go have a look at the big VAR screen. He's going to have an extra look at it here. Well, again, this is not an exaggeration to say that millions of pounds, millions of dollars are on the line here with this review. I mean, you get a decent payday from the Europa League, but it's nothing compared to the Champions League, and of course the prestige. So when you say there's a lot on the line here, that's not overstating it. Maurizio Morani's got a heck of a decision to make. Personally, I think a foul's been committed by Atakame. If you want my honest opinion, again, unbiased, no dog in the fight, I think he committed the foul. But we shall see what the call is. The referee's still looking at it. This is getting very Zapruder-like right here. He continues to just look at it like he's studying for a test. Oh my goodness. Well, they are. I mean, he is looking at that like a coach looks at his game plans. He's watching that like a hawk. Here we go. Big call. And we'll see what he's going to do. And no goal. No goal. For the second time, VAR has cost Lyon and has let Fenerbahce off the hook. Here it puts millions, referring to my claim I mentioned earlier. A goose comes in, or comes out, I should say. And it's going to be Dorgelas Nene coming on. And the American Testament has had his race run for the night for Lyon. So, night done for the Birmingham, Alabama product. And Pavel Suk Comes on in his place, the Czech midfielder. What a world. You think Birmingham, Alabama in football, you think the other kind. You don't exactly think of this kind. Greenwood to take this free kick now for Fenerbahce. 77th minute. 1-1 or 2-1 to Fenerbahce on the night. 3-2 on aggregate. Greenwood lofts one in. And a good catch made by Grief. Lyon will continue to go. Now it's Morton. Long ball right side. Can it be kept in by Udache? He does keep it in. His cross and headed away. And again, we mentioned this earlier, but let's inform a new audience that might not be familiar, that didn't hear that and may not be familiar with the story. Fenerbahce are trying to make the league phase, the Champions League proper, group phase back then, league phase now, for the first time in 18 years. So, I mean, it has been a minute. And Lyon are trying to make it for the first time in 7. Last time they made it was that 2020 campaign when they made it all the way to the semifinals. They disposed of Juventus and Manchester City along the trail before losing to the eventual winners Bayern. Pass picked off. Conte still very good at onto the scene like he did for Leicester and for Chelsea all those years. Greenwood gets the pass off. Nene dances the penalty area. Nene stumbles a little bit. Goes down, nothing called. '79th minute. '79th minute. Lyon working with it here. Now throw in here by Nelson Semedo. Videt's pulled back. And now here comes Big Rom. Romelu Lukaku. Now coming on for Fenerbahce. He is set to come on. We'll find out in a minute who he replaces. Looks like Irfan Kvechi is also coming on here. Not yet. Free kick. Lifted in, foul, and then play stops. And now we might get there. Fenerbahce have made their last 2 subs. The man who opened the scoring of the night, Mariki, comes off, as too does Greenwood. It is going to be Lukaku and Kvechi who come on. Irfan Kvechi, you might remember him being in that Turkish squad in the World Cup this past summer. He's the 2020 Turkish Footballer of the Year. And of course, you know all about Lukaku, 33 years of age. He's been at it a while. Lukaku now trying to get involved here. Made his debut last week in the first leg. of this time. He's trying to get himself involved. Lyon want a handball. They're going to get it. Free kick in their own half. And again, one more time, we do need to mention that there's probably going to be a fair amount of stoppage time because of these VAR stoppages. Now, Fenerbahce winning it back with Yüksek. He tees it up. He lays it off. Ake, back to Guendouzi, deflected! And Grief with the save. Grief had to be aware of that because that took a pretty good deflection off the foot of Guendouzi. Could have haunted his former club right there. About to go into the 83rd minute. Still 2-1 to Fenerbahce. Third minute. Long ball. Lukaku. In the mixer. Now Fenerbahce. Yüksek laid it off. Ake again. Now it's Guendouzi. Is he playing it now? Okay, now teeing it back up. Yüksek for Lyon. Left-hand side. Yüksek with Kluivert defending him. Yüksek to Guendouzi. Guendouzi. Now here is Nene, one of the substitutes. And Nene. Cleared away. Guendouzi. Now it's Lyon. They might caught Fenerbahce napping. Skriniar, the last line of defense, did his job. And he had to because he had a man bearing down on him and there was no one else in the picture almost. There's the save. Fenerbahce. Mere moments away from rubbing, a little less than 7 minutes plus stoppage time from rubbing elbows with the European establishment and elite. Once again. Fofana. Abner now to Niakate. Kluivert. Abner. That eluded Abner, and then out of play it goes. And slow to give him, holding his right side. Be Fofana. Lyon are getting set. They can make 2 more substitutions. Fenerbahce can make only 1. And the last 2 for Lyon might be getting set to come on here. They look to be getting ready. Grief. Now Kluivert. Lyon in their own half. Got to be a little bit less stagnant if you're Lyon at this rate. Kante. Real quick, just to let you know, we've got 5 minutes to play. Let's just kind of pick up on some things. In the English League Cup, Everton are going to go through. They're hammering Preston 4-0. Newcastle did beat West Brom 3-2. Tottenham hammered Charlton 5-1. Bradford and Burnley are currently in a penalty shootout of the Champions League. Celje and Slovan Bratislava are still tied on the night and on aggregate. Viking now have a 3-1 lead on the night against Dinamo Zagreb. Looks like we're going to have 2 Norwegian clubs in the league phase. How about that? Abner and Morton are the 2 that make way. It's Bidstrup. We told you about him arriving from Salzburg earlier. And also Tagliafico, a veteran from Argentina, coming on. So those are the two more changes that Lyon will make. Bitstrup and Tagliafico. And then AEK Athens are 4-0 up on Levski Sofia. So the dream of a Bulgarian club making the league phase is going to come to an end. But how about the two Norwegian clubs in the league phase? That's going to be cool. Bodo Glimt and Viking. Which everybody remembers what Bodo Glimt did last season. On the whistle here. Lyon are back in upcoming matches for these teams. Lyon are in action at home against Le Havre at the weekend. They also have September matches against Auxerre, Paris FC, and Rennes. Their first game with PSG will be in Paris, weekend commencing the 24th of October. They also have a December 12th, the last match before Christmas, a home match with one of their big rivals, Marseille, in the Choc d'Olympique. Fenerbahce are away to Samsunspor the weekend. Then the first of their big matches with their big Istanbul rivals when they host Besiktas. That'll be coming up in September. And then in October will be their first league meeting of the year with Galatasaray. One of those, just, you talk about an intense rivalry. About world rivalries that just have that are not just passionate, they have like an intensity to them on and off the pitch. You talk about Boca River, you talk about Celtic Rangers. You talk about the ones just based on pure intensity and hatred. You got to have Fenerbahce and Galatasaray right up there. Galatasaray is going to be in the league phase. Is Fenerbahce going to join their nemesis there? Yüksek goes down. They're just a couple of minutes away from doing it. But there is still work to do. 2 minutes plus stoppage time is going to feel like 2 hours for Fenerbahce and their fans. Then again, maybe they won't feel that bad. They feel like we've waited 18 years. Wants a couple of more minutes to get to the league phase. 17, 18 years. 2000 was the fall of 08 when it started. So, you could say 17 seasons, 18 years. Wants a couple of more minutes. Ederson away. That is, looking at the stuff for the matches. This one over the top. Nene was onto it, but looking at that stuff, looking at the notes for both Lyon and Fenerbahce, it was rather staggering that both sides have not been in the Champions League proper for as long as they have. I mean, 1920 was Lyon's last, and 08-09, that was just staggering to me looking at that. But such is life in European football. You just never know. Here is Openda for Lyon. Openda cutting to his right, has a little bit of space to work. Trying to tee up a man here. Tolisso lays it off, and the shot is wide. Well, Tolisso laid it off. Openda really does the work here. Tolisso should have shot it first time. He opted to pass and get a little bit closer. But Budache could not connect, and Fonseca left in a daze. Pierre says Norway making noise yet again in the UCL, and he says Turkish football is crazy. Yeah. I think about when Graham Souness was Galatasaray's manager, and he stuck a Galatasaray flag at Fenerbahce's center pitch. I'm like, Graham, you've been in the Celtic Rangers rivalry. Do you realize that wasn't the smartest thing to do? Could have been hurt. 6 minutes of stoppage time. That was back before his days of criticizing Paul Pogba every 5 seconds. That's what some say, not me. You see it there, 6 minutes. That's how long Fenerbahce's got to wait. Foul's been committed. It's going to be a free kick now. Fenerbahce, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, have one more sub that they can make. Tolisso. Fofana. Fofana sends one in. The header only goes as far back as a Lyon man, whose volley is deflected wildly out of play. It's Athakime with a shot. Lyon have a corner. Time ticking away. Corner delivered in. Ederson fumbled it. Might have been interfered with, and he was. He lays down on his back and is helped up by his teammates. He punched it, but I think Tagliafico fouled him, so no harm and no foul from that end. Is Romelu Lukaku about to be back in the big time of the Champions League? So again, a long ways to go. And again, you're not surprised with the 6 minutes because of how Fenerbahce, because of those VAR checks. Fenerbahce played it in, losing possession. Athakame now with it for Lyon. Long ball left side. Fofana. Lisa loses out. Fofana is down. Fonseca begging for a foul. Gets it. Kvechi is perplexed at the decision. And we're almost halfway through stoppage time. If you're Lyon, do you consider asking Dominic Grief to come up? The big goalkeeper. Do you consider Grief coming up at this rate? It's now or never time. I'm at least thinking about it. He has not joined the attack, at least for the present time. He will not. It's a free kick and not very much height on it. And it's away again by Guendouzi. And chases it back. Lofted in the area. Cleared away again. Kvechi's in there. And then Kvechi is fouled. Free kick to Fenerbahce as we just passed the halfway point of stoppage time of what has been allotted. Took a big tumble there, dude, Kvechi. Ederson with the goal kick. Yuksek. Fenerbahce have it in the attacking half. Conte's there. Guendouzi tried to win it. And Guendouzi's still in a battle. And he's committed a foul. I think he just got a yellow card for it. He won't have any problem conceding that yellow card as long as he gets back there defensively. 2 minutes. Lyon lofted another long ball in. Skriniar's there. Fofana tried to get a touch to it, couldn't. Fenerbahce have cleared it away. Back pass to Grief. Nearing the final 90 seconds that we were promised. Squeezing it through. Bidstrup's in. His pass. Right hand side. Udache on the run. He gets tackled, but there's no foul. Now it's been called very, very late. Said this before and I'll say this again. Doesn't matter what sport. This is one of my biggest pet peeves with rules with officials in general. It might have been the right call. I think it probably was, as Nene gets a yellow. What I can't stand is the officials, for what purpose, dramatic effect, or someone in their ear, waiting 10 seconds as if he's trying to put on a Broadway show for the fans to make the call. If it's a foul, call the foul. 8,000 people aren't here to see your acting skills. They're here to watch this football match. Grief is up this time for Lyon. Here's the free kick. Lukaku back there defending, and he gets it away. 20 seconds. Fenerbahce are just about to the finish line. Kime, lofting one, right-hand side. Where will it bounce? Away it goes. 5 seconds left. Lyon with a pass. Here's Fofana, trying to cut right. We've had the 6 minutes. Last chance, surely. Oh, back in Doozy. Not very good, though. Bidstrup's in there. But it's going to be cleared away by Fenerbahce. And now they've got Lukaku. As Grief tries to go back, Lukaku 1 against 2. He's got options here. It's Nene who's put it over the bar. But the miss will not matter. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, Fenerbahce will be rubbing shoulders with the European football establishment in the league phase of the Champions League. It's their own version of Turkish delight. Olympique Lyonnais will have to settle for the Europa League. Fenerbahce have done it. The 2 first-half goals, one from the new signing, Vedat Mariki, and then the one from the head of Archie Brown, proved to be enough. Malik Fofana did pull one back for Lyon. Lyon actually had a goal, twice had the ball in the back of the net, only for VAR to overturn it, and they will be left ruining their luck surely. It's Thursday, Sunday schedules, and those congestions for Lyon now. And Fenerbahce can now potentially salivate at some of the big guns coming to town. They'll find out tomorrow if any of those big names will have to make the arduous journey to Istanbul. But tonight, a celebration nearly 20 years in the making. Full time of the UEFA Champions League playoff round. It's finished Lyon 1, Fenerbahce 2. Fenerbahce through to the league phase 3-2 on aggregate. Special thanks to Pierre Moss for hopping in the comments as always. Appreciate you. For Matthew Owens and JT, special thanks to them for all the hard work they do. I'm Seth Eves. For everyone at YouTube, so long. Congratulations to Fenerbahce. They're into the league phase of the Champions League.